So what I want to do here is start a series pitting two characters against each other, one from Marvel Comics and one from DC Comics. And what we're going to do here is use three categories to present our case, which will be storylines, powers or abilities, and their rogues gallery, which is to say, their various villains. And to start this off, we're going to be focusing on Batman and Black Panther. So as one of the original comic book superheroes, Batman's history throws all the way back to the golden age of comics in 1940, and as a result, he has a huge leeway on Black Panther in terms of his storylines. Written by Chuck Dixon, 1993's Nightfall saw Bruce Wayne removed from his role as Batman for the first time in publication history after his back was broken by Bane, leading to fan favorite Dick Grayson undertaking the mantle for a time. The Killing Joke by Alan Moore stands as a classic story in that it provided a bit of Joker's origin, but also went towards the mental torment of Jim Gordon at the hands of the Joker, as well as the conclusion which has been debated constantly regarding whether Batman killed Joker or not. Finally, The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller is hailed as the definitive Batman story that focused on a dystopian future, with Bruce Wayne coming out of retirement, but also because it shifted Batman to overtaking Superman in popularity due to its dark and gritty nature, and by extension, moved the comic book industry into a new era referred to as the Dark Age, which focused on dark stories and the deaths of popular characters. Now for Black Panther, the first 5 issues of 1998's Volume 3 under the Marvel Knights imprint is widely considered to be the best and most important run for both his character and his fans. What I mean here is that this story was entry-level, allowing readers who knew of the character but have no knowledge of his history to jump into the series. This was compounded on by the fact that Christopher Priest expanded on T'Challa's roots in Wakanda and that he focused heavily on the religion of the Wakandans and their perception of Black Panther as their leader and spiritual guide. The Secret Invasion tie-in titled The Might of Wakanda, covered in Black Panther Volume 4 issues 39, 40, and 41, focused on the idea that no one had ever successfully conquered the nation of Wakanda. With Secret Invasion seeing the Skrulls infiltrating and replacing over 90% of Earth's population, both human and superpowered, The Might of Wakanda focused on their efforts to subvert and take over the fictional city. Where the casualties were high and the population was almost completely obliterated, the story is absolutely gripping and a fascinating demonstration of how far T'Challa and his wife Storm were willing to go to protect their people. So in terms of abilities, Batman is routinely depicted as one of the top 3 smartest people on the planet, along with Lex Luthor and Mr. Terrific, and his wealth is well documented in that it provides him with the financial backing necessary to fund his endeavors. The Batcave, the Batmobile, and the Batwing all stand as icons of his comics, to say nothing of the various items within his utility belt, which allow him to cope with virtually any situation. However, much like Batman, T'Challa was born into an empire, but where Bruce's empire was metaphorical and under the banner of Wayne Industries, Black Panther exists as the leader of a literal empire in Wakanda, which exists as a refuge of technological advancement. Having said that, because Marvel's most intelligent beings consist of Reed Richards, Dr. Doom, and Valeria Richards, who simultaneously occupy first place, Black Panther himself is largely considered to be one of the smartest people on the planet behind Tony Stark, Amadeus Cho, or Peter Parker. But again, this is usually based on the story's writer at the time. Finally, where Bruce Wayne's skill set comes from his enhanced intelligence and mastery of multiple martial arts disciplines, Black Panther's abilities hail from his exposure to the Panther deity and the various powers that come with it. As such, his sense of smell is on par with Wolverine, allowing him to detect a scent and never lose it, in addition to all of his physical attributes being elevated to the same levels as Captain America. Now in truth, Batman's villains are where his character really outclasses Black Panther. The Joker is a classic here and is routinely ranked as the greatest villain of all time across almost all sites dedicated to geek culture. Whether it be his love for violence and chaos as seen in 1988's Death in the Family when he beat Jason Todd to death with a crowbar, or the downright silliness of his schemes like 1978's Detective Comics number 475, which saw him trying to copyright Fish, the Joker is a fan favorite with interest perking up the instant he makes an appearance in comics. Conversely, Bane and Riddler challenge Batman physically and mentally, oftentimes pushing him to his limits. This combined with events like Tower of Babel where Ra's al Ghul had stolen the protocols on the rest of the Justice League, leading to their individual defeats and the destruction of their trust in Batman, demonstrate that his rogues gallery consists of some of the most dangerous and unpredictable beings on the planet. Black Panther doesn't really have his own rogues gallery aside from Ulysses Klaue, who's more of a nuisance than an actual threat. While most of this is due to the fact that the citizens of Wakanda revere T'Challa with love more than fear, meaning that very few of them would actually rise up against him, It's also because his escapades in the comic book universe stem from his involvement with the Avengers and the various threats they face. And so with all that being said, I'm leaving it to you guys to decide. Which character do you think is better? Bruce Wayne or Black Panther? With that being said, I will catch you guys later. Peace.